Okay, well, things get started. I just want to take one moment. I know the last day or so there's been a lot of talk about the next generation of students and how changes in NLSI going forward might affect that group. I just want to say how really important the NLSI has been to developing over the last 5 years a really, I think, a very talented group of early career scientists from a wide range of disciplines. And we've been getting together now past 4 years preceding the NLSI, and I'm confident that those collaborations, those meetings will lead to collaborations in the near and distant future and really help create a very strong community going forward in the next years to tens of years. And so that's something that I think is really important that's happened fundamentally because of the NLSI. I want to acknowledge some help that I've gotten, primarily from Laura Bleacher, who cannot be here today, but also from a group of people who are stepping up and taking the reins going forward. I'll allude to this later on, but as those of us that were next geners a couple years back become less of the next generation, most of the last generation, we're looking to people who are earlier in their careers to step up and help out. And we've gotten a few people who have stepped up to that challenge, and we really appreciate that. The next gen group started about 5 years ago. I actually started the very first NLSI forum in the tent, back in the days when there was a tent. Jake Bleacher and I, over beverages, when beverages were free, came up with the idea that the forum would be a really excellent opportunity to get early career scientists, lunar scientists, and engineers together and basically start developing this community that has now arisen. We have members that range from undergraduates to early career researchers, professors. All have been very active in our activities. And we received a modest amount of support, funding support, from the EPO ESS program that's helped offset some of the travel costs for students, as well as fund some of the time spent in planning and organizing. And of course, I also have to mention the support that the NLSI has given us in hosting the event, advertising the event, running the event. It's been totally invaluable. And ultimately, what we intend to do, and hopefully do fairly well, is essentially provide opportunities for professional development, both in collaborations, but also in learning how to be productive members of the science community. We also like to provide opportunities for members to interact on a somewhat casual basis with more established members of the community. One of the things as an early career professional I found it was very sort of challenging sometimes to go up to senior members of the community, and I'd sort of go up and, "Hi, can I borrow you for a moment and talk to you?" And obviously most of the time everybody's really excited. All the time people are excited to talk. And so we want to tear down that bridge, that sort of hindrance for approaching senior members of the community. And so that's been something that's been very successful. Again, big thanks to the NLSI. We've evolved in what we do each year, basically offering different opportunities, different topics, starting from how to prepare and present your research, how to present effectively to students and or the public. Last year we talked with a group of people how to communicate with the media, how to get your message across to the media. And this year we stepped forward. All of what we intend to do reflects the needs of the community. And I actually wanted to highlight a survey that was completed several years ago. This is the 2011 Planetary Science Workforce Survey. Surveyed a large segment, over 2,600 members of the community, and essentially evaluated what they felt they needed or should have gotten out, would like to have gotten out of their doctoral program. This is just an example of some of the things. Basically, topics that have cooler colors are things that they didn't feel that they were well prepared for in their doctoral program. Things like managing people, non-academic career info, public outreach, proposal writing skills. These are the sorts of things that we identify as being needs of the community. So we sort of stepped up and tried to address these needs. This is another part of that survey that talks about how people's careers would have been benefited from more training in particular programs, and I highlight the ones that we focused on, and actually I think do quite well in our program. Establishing contacts in planetary science, collaborations. One of the most satisfying parts of our event on Monday was seeing geochemists and spectroscopists talking to one another and not coming to blows. Not yet, anyway. And that was very satisfying because just seeing those discussions starting sort of hints at, and I think will lead to future collaborations. Talking about non-academic career info, we covered that a little bit on Monday, and obviously public outreach. These are all topics that the community recognizes as needs, and we attempt to address. And I put a gold or a green star next to proposal writing skills. That received the largest response in not only in this survey, but in our surveys as well. And that's something that we intend to address going forward as well. On Monday, we had about 17 participants over in the meeting center, the old meeting center now. In the morning, Laura went over the results of the Planetary Science Workforce Survey, the survey I showed, and we had a panel discussion amongst 4 sort of early career researchers at different institutions. Like politicians say, it's about jobs. Well, this was a focus of our survey, or our meeting on Monday, talking about jobs, how to get jobs, things to do, and we had Jen Heldman from here at Ames, Tim Glotch from Stony Brook, Brent Gary from PSI, and Eric Kolb from Google all participate in a panel discussion over the course of about 2 hours, talking about how they arrived at their career choices, the hurdles they had to overcome, and basically how they got to where they are. That was received very positively by the members of the group, and it was an excellent opportunity to pick their brains. In the afternoon after lunch, we had an invited talk from Bill Botke, who generously dedicated an hour of his time during a very busy Monday to come and talk to us about his career path and the things that he did that led him to his current position, some of the lessons learned, things to avoid, and things to look out for. And that was received, I have to say, very, very warmly by everybody in the group. We spent a bit of time talking about, quote, the elevator speech, how to summarize your presentation, your science, your career goals in a minute and a half, similar to the flash talks that you've seen this week. One of the things that I included in bold here, or in italics, is that we ended up talking, although not planned, about the proposal writing process, ultimately going to the computer, bringing up NSPIRES, and sort of talking about that process. It seemed to be a black box that a lot of participants had no idea. NSPIRES is an acronym that everyone had to have spelled out. Actually, I had to look it up myself, of course, too. But it was something that was clearly not part of their synapses as being an important part of the future of their careers. And in the afternoon, we did a survey that I'll talk briefly about, and the participants got to go on a tour of Ames, which was a lot of fun. Just points of the feedback, things that people liked. People liked the panel. Again, they really want to find out about how to get a job. It's obviously an important thing on many people's minds. And one of the respondents, actually many of the respondents, didn't know about PSI or about SETI or some of the sort of non-traditional, or I guess they're traditional now, but the non-academic career paths that are available. I will add that it was very nice having both Brent and Tim call in, Tim sitting in his well-appointed university professor's office, and Brent Carey calling in from his office, which is his living room, with his cat. So that clearly showed the dichotomy between what you are able to do in this field. As I said, Bill Botke's talk was very well represented. People didn't like some of the practicing and getting up in front of people to speak, and wanted more opportunities to really pick our brains, and so we'll do that going forward. As I said, some of us are now becoming less next gen and more old gen, I guess. We have to continue to investigate funding opportunities. EPOS is on a 1-year sabbatical. Of course, and as I said, LSI has been very, very supportive of our efforts, and bring in new blood with new ideas of things that we could be doing better or differently. We're going to be supporting them to move forward and broaden our scope of the things that we do and how we do them. We'll continue to work with Lunar GradCon, which has really been a nice synergy. Oh, I use the word synergy. I can't believe it. It's been a nice collaboration because the Lunar GradCon tends to focus on the science that people do, where we talk about the professional development aspects. And clearly, we have to do something about proposal writing and crafting proposals and the proposal process. That's clearly something that our community desperately wants to do. So in short, and this again ties into some of the topics that we've discussed the last day about what this next gen community is all about. They're still excited, despite all of some of the negativity that may be heard around. There's a community that's ready to participate, to move forward, to help the community move forward and build. But we really need to be careful, because any negativity or any negative impacts to the community can have really dire consequences moving forward. We don't want to lose the community that we've all worked very, very hard to develop right now. And clearly, jobs is going to be one of the factors. You go, look around, look at the number of presentations. It's a lot of early career people, and I just don't know where everyone's going to get funded and paid and get high-paying and good jobs. So that's something we have to be very cautious about. But I would highly encourage everyone to support whatever it is that the next generation group does going forward, in whatever version we do, but we'll be open to any and all ideas. And with that, I'll end and take questions.
Thanks very much, Noah, and I can say that we're very proud of the support we've been able to help you guys with. I remember that first meeting and standing there with you and saying, as long as you guys exist, as long as we exist, we'll be there to support you. One thing I'll disagree with, though, you're not the older generation yet because I don't know what that would make me. I'm not ready to be the really old generation. Any questions, please?
Have you discussed among yourselves how you think your organization might change if the scope and direction of the Lunar Science Institute changes?
Certainly, and that's something that we've been thinking about or I've been thinking about anyway, as long as these discussions of this change of scope has occurred. One of the things that I've felt very passionately about the group is that we're, as much as we're the next gen lunar scientists, we're open to any and all newcomers. And certainly as the NLSI changes focus, any participation, any events that we have here, I think have to change focus as well. Personally, I mean, I'm a lunatic, like Larry, and I want to see the lunar community as strong as it can be. So I'll do everything I can to make sure that happens. But as long as we're playing in your house, we will invite the members of the community that play in your house to come with us as well.
Great. Okay, why don't we move on? Thanks again, Noah. Oh, one more.
You'd look over here more often, Greg.
Right.
Yeah, I just want to thank Noah for putting this together and actually inspiring a lot of the next gen work. And if we can give him a big hand here, because he has been the inspiration. And I just want to thank you. And I think for next year, a one-day proposal writing workshop, and I hate to say this in front of witnesses, but I'll give you a hand to put it together.
Okay.
That may be something that would